Believe me when I'm telling you that not everything is about money. Yeah, who knew? It just pays for our groceries, our education, our car, and sometimes our very definition of dream. But there is a currency out there that is much more worthy than the almighty dollar, the Japanese yen, and of course the Swedish krona. And that is your time. If you've been following my videos for a time now, you know that I'm constantly curating my collection to go through which ones of the books that I would want to keep and reread over and over again. And that is for me a way to conserve time in the future so that I'm not too wasted on books that I don't like. And to do that properly, it also takes some time investment, as I would like to maybe reread some of the books one last time, or maybe something that I'm not too sure of if I want to sell, so I invest some time into reading that to make sure that I'm not selling off something that I might end up regretting. Of course, all of these books behind me are available digitally, but I'm not ready to go that hardcore into my minimalism journey with this collection. But what I am ready for is to be more honest with myself each time that I do go through this collection, and just not stand in front of the collection and pick out some books just to make space, but to look inwards and say, I don't need this. For example, I have the Elvis mini hardcover albums that brings up themes like friendship, sex, love, and their little cat, Sonny. But these are signed editions from the creator, Tony Kronstam, with sketches and all. But I don't have real attachment to them because much like, or rather like the album that I got signed from him at Comic-Con with a special sketch just for me, because he drew me and him together, or Elvis. And yeah, that's much more fun for me to keep in the collection because it's tied to a memory, and not of course all of the memories should be tied to items, but I'd rather keep those albums than these 4 mini hardcovers that has no sentimental value to me because he sketched and signed those at his workstation, wherever that was at the time when I ordered them online. And when it comes to the comic strips that are in those mini hardcover albums, those are already collected within the bigger albums of Elvis that I have, so I'm not really giving anything up. They have just taken up space because I thought these were important. And some other books that I'm getting rid of that might surprise some of you is the Complete Batman by Frank Miller and the Joker Stacked Deck by Longmeadow Press. These leather-bound hardcovers are rare, but they have gotten into this concept that I would like to call the veteran car dilemma. And I don't really know if this works, but imagine yourself a car collector that collects old veteran cars, but he doesn't drive them because he's afraid that the engine will break or something like that. I don't know anything about cars, but this is the story I'm gonna go with. And with these leather-bound books, they crack so bad whenever I'm opening them up. So I'm too afraid to actually read them again, because I read them once, and that's one and only time, and that was years and years ago. So for the Complete Frank Miller, I have the Year One in deluxe edition, and I have the Dark Knight Returns hardcover collection, so I don't have to access those leather-bound books anymore for the stories that I want to read. So why do I keep them? Is it just so I can show you that I have the books each and every time that I do a graphic novel collection? Because then neither you or I get any enjoyment out of them because they just stand there. So that is why I'm getting rid of those. And sometimes it's hard for me to even use the comic books and graphic novels like an example. So for this one, I'm gonna use the DVDs and Blu-rays. Because with our comic books and graphic novels, we all take different time to finish off reading a book. Of course, we all have different pace when it comes to reading our books. I myself see myself as a quick reader, but maybe I'm not paying the attention to all the panels just as much as any other person would, or maybe I might even skipping some things, or maybe I read too fast so I'm missing something in the dialogue. But I feel that I get the most of it as how I'm reading it. But with the movies and TV shows, on the back of a cover, if you buy physical, you have the printed time there on how long it's gonna take for you to invest in this movie or in this TV show. Could you imagine if our comic books did not only hold the page count, but also the average time it would take for the average reader to finish off the book? Could you imagine adding up all of those hours, all of those minutes? Would you have time to watch all those TV shows, to watch all those movies, to read all of those graphic novels? And would this make you think twice before you buy into too much? Because you clearly have the money to invest in the books, but you have the time to invest also. Because take it from me, that moved from one town to the other with over 900 graphic novel books. I never stopped at enough. I stopped at this is too much. And recently, just like my graphic novel books that I felt that took up my future time, I felt the same for my TV shows that I watched. A few months ago, I recently finished off watching all of my CW TV shows, and before that I watched the complete series of Gotham and a whole lot of other shows. So all of those Blu-rays had given their fair shot for the one-time viewing. But just like my comic books, I felt that these probably wants to be seen again and again, and they're not gonna make that job if they're stuck away under my bed. So I'm selling them off, and another reason why I'm selling them off and not holding on to them is because I felt that they became just in case items. Just in case the internet breaks down, or just in case the streaming service takes down the TV show. But I started to question my reasoning behind the just in case internet goes down and streaming service takes it down to what are the chances that the very same night that the internet goes down, streaming service takes down the show, there is nothing else in the world than this TV show right now that could satisfy my quench, and it would be the end of the world. Because the fact is that it's not the end of the world, it's the time to turn my attention to something else. Speaking of attention, because there is something in Michael Legend that I felt didn't get the attention it deserved. And those were my 1/4 scale premium statues from Sideshow Collectibles. Because I felt that I never really gazed upon them, and I never felt their presence in the room. Sure, they were securely behind a glass case away from my cat, because in the end all they were colorful blinking lights in the periphery of my vision whenever I was watching TV. And I never felt that people were impressed by the statues whenever they came over. Not really that I'm trying to impress people with the things that I own, because when people come over and see my comic book collection, they think I'm crazy. And believe me, I find much more satisfaction in getting praise for the things that I make, such as my YouTube videos, instead of the things that I own. So it wasn't a hard time for me to actually get rid of the statues. And not the books or the TV shows either, for that matter. And so to summarize this video on what I've been talking about If it's not worth your attention, and if it's not worth your space and your time, why would it be worth your money? So, thanks so much for watching. My name is Joachim, this is Joachim Comic Center, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye bye.